Hi and welcome back. In this video, we're going to be talking about reflections, which are a specific type of function transformation. So the idea here is that we can reflect a function either horizontally, which would happen over the y-axis, or vertically, which would happen over the x-axis. This is assuming that we have an x and y axes. You can of course do reflections on different axes. The point here is that we can do them either horizontally or vertically. Now, if we have an x and y axis, you can see that the vertical reflection would take a point and reflect it over the x-axis. So it's a little confusing because we usually think of vertical being y, but here the vertical transformation reflects over the x-axis. So you can kind of always draw yourself a little picture like this to try to make sure you're remembering it correctly. Then the horizontal reflection occurs over the y-axis, since that is the way that it is reflecting. So here a reflection takes a point and then just maps it to the opposite place across whatever axis we're looking at. So let me write a little bit out for you and we can talk more about what happens. So I'm going to split this up into talking about the input or the horizontal reflection and the output or the vertical reflection. So in both of these, we're going to start with our function f of x and then change it somehow. So to happen horizontally, or to the inputs, we're going to add a negative being multiplied by our input. So this negative times our input takes all of the input values, and whatever they are, it changes the sign of them. So if we have positive input values, positive x values, they're going to become negative. And if we have negative x values, they're going to become positive. So that's why this is a reflection over the y-axis, or a horizontal reflection. All of the points on the left side of the axis move to the right side of the axis, and vice versa. This is a reflection over the y-axis. I'll show you a graph in a moment, but first let's talk about the output transformation. So here we're affecting the outputs of the function, and so I'm going to put a negative on the outside of my function. So the negative is being multiplied by f of x, the output. So here this is taking all of the outputs and changing their sign. So if a output is positive, it will become negative, and if an output is negative, it will become positive. So here we're reflecting over the x-axis. That's our vertical reflection. All the points above the x-axis will move below it, and the ones below it will move above. So let's look at this on our sample graph. So you can see here we have our function f of x. If I put that negative being multiplied by the inputs, you'll see that the graph reflects across that vertical axis, the y-axis. So the negative applied to the input takes everything on the left and moves it over to the right. It mirrors or reflects it over, and it does the same to everything on the right. It reflects it over to the left. Okay, so now again we can observe this with the vertical reflection. So here if I put the negative on the outside, this is going to take all of the outputs or the y values and change their sign. So this is a reflection over the x-axis. Everything above the x-axis is going to move below, and everything below is going to move above. So these are our two reflections, and of course we can actually do both of them if we'd like. We can reflect it over the x-axis and over the y-axis. We can do both at the same time. That's allowed too. Okay, so we'll do some examples in the separate example video, but that's it for this one. Thanks so much for watching, and I will talk to you in the next one.